You've seen this map a few times. I presented to you this map because the Navy knows something they are not telling us.
Okay, you remember Henning showing you that map. Okay, I've got that same map in 3D. I'm going to show you that. And then I got some other stuff to show you too. Okay? Because believe me, he's not off on what he's talking about. Not at all. Plus the fact that the fracking goes a lot more deeper than just the natural gas in your water. A whole lot more deeper than that. So remember that map that Henning showed you? Let's look at this 3D map real quick and then watch what I have to show you. Okay, now remember, this is the same map that Henning showed you, the USA Navy map, but in 3D. Pay close attention to it. Now, see all the little dots? Yes, these are maps of different states. And all them little dots you're looking at are wells. Fracking wells, where they frack for natural gas. Look at how many dots there is. You can't even count them. Gigantic clusters. Can't even begin to count them. That's right. And look at that. Can you count them yet? No. It's how many wells they have fracked. It's how many. Look how close together they are. You notice that? Now, I want you to think about something. Okay? All these dots, how close together they are. And they're all wells that have been fracked. But all these wells that you're looking at, the fracking and all, yes, all them wells that you've seen and all them dots are all the way up and down the Madridian fault line. Now, why did I show you that? Not only is that public record, so you can go research it and find it yourself, but what Henning didn't talk about when he told you about the natural gas in your water, he's correct. I've already shown you that before. And you've seen the report that I showed you in part 1. Proving everything he said to be correct, okay? But now the laws of physics comes into this. The laws of physics. And if you understand the laws of physics, then you understand that if I took and I fracked your foundation to your home, that's right, we pour the concrete, we build your home on it. And I drill a hole across the middle of your concrete to your foundation. And I blow it up, crack it, and break it all up. What do you suppose is going to happen? Foundation's going to give way, isn't it? That's right. What's going to happen? Your house is going to be a fucked, ain't it? Now what happens if I drill a hole across the road? And I drill it underneath the ground, and I drill it up under your house, underneath your foundation, and then I blow it up. Well, then I blew the dirt away that's supporting your foundation, plus I cracked and broke up your foundation. Then what do you suppose is going to happen? Well, by golly, I think the weight of your house sitting on the ground and the concrete that now is supporting your house on top of the ground is supporting concrete, I think your house is going to collapse on you, son. Laws of physics. Now pay attention to all them dots. How close together they are. Where did they drill? They drilled right down to the very bottom layer, right into the rock. What did Henning show you in part 1? Well, he showed you what your rock was made of. And then they blew up into that, didn't they? And they cracked it all out. What do you suppose is happening to that rock now that you blow it up and cracked it, and then you put it under pressure? It's falling apart. That's right, it's falling apart. See how close them dots are together? Every one of them dots is a well. And they're all the way up and down the Madridian fault line. And it's falling apart. And that ain't even the beginning of this. What else did Henning just show you? Oh, that's right, he showed you about the Navy. He showed you all the explosives out in the Gulf. Chain reaction. He showed you the salt dome. That's right, chain reaction. That's right. Now there's one more kick in your ass. Why don't you look up locations of your nuclear plants in the United States of America? Guess what else you're going to find all the way up and down the Madridian fault line? Nuclear plants. That's right, nuclear plants. So, with what Henning has showed you and what I have told you, and I can back what I'm saying, I don't lie. So one thing I don't do is I don't come up here and fluff and stuff people and fill your heads full of deception and lies. I give Henning credit because Henning showed me the fracking that I didn't know was going on. If it wasn't for Henning showing me that fracking, I wouldn't have known what was going on. Okay? So I give Henning credit for that. But what Henning didn't know is when I seen what he produced and showed to me, like I always do if I'm doubtful about something, I didn't doubt what he was saying, but I had to double check it because of what I knew. I knew about laws of physics. And when I seen him showing me the fracking, I wasn't just scared about the gas in our water, the contaminations in our drinking water, people, that Henning told you about, which he was correct. That wasn't even my littlest scare. What scared me the most was I understood the laws of physics. And I realized what they'd done. And I went and researched it and researched it and researched it. And then I started going through and looking for public records of everywhere they drilled. And the more deeper I dug, the more my heart went boom, 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 because I knew. Everything Henning said is correct. He's not lying to you. The bad thing is, I think it's even a lot worse than what Henning realizes. That's why I'm showing you this. So now let's picture what Henning just showed you in his recent video that I'm doing this reply to. All them explosives, what happens with chain reaction? Well, we're going to have a tidal wave, a tsunami, that's probably going to take out Florida. If all them explosives has a chain reaction, we have a major earthquake. Yeah, the Gulf would just sort of lift up in the air, won't it? Send a wave right into Florida. Bye, Florida. Okay? That ain't in the beginning. Salt dome right there. What Henning told you about? Correct. What else is that going to do? Oh, shit. Did you think about all them wells that were fracking? So that means that rock, which Henning showed you what it was made of, is already cracked and breaking up. And if you paid attention to what's going on with earthquakes, you'd realize that Arkansas, which is in the middle of the Meridian Fault Line, well, they've been having earthquakes for well over 2 years now. And they're becoming more of them and more of them. Well, of course they are, because the rock's falling apart. So now let's picture the explosives. Let's picture the fracking. That means the rock's already fallen apart. Now let's look at what Henning showed you about where they drilled and the oil lubricating the Meridian Fault Line. On top of that, now put all of them together and take a look at the United States map that Henning showed you and the one I showed you in 3D. And tell me we're not in a whole lot of trouble. We are in over our heads. And I don't think there's going to be too many safe spots anywhere. You know, they're pushing for green, ain't they? We're going to be turning green. Because we got all them nuclear plants put up, and all the way up and down the Meridian Fault Line, we have nuclear plants. Sitting on a fault line that we have fractured all the way up and down the Meridian Fault Line. And that we have drilled into, and we have lubed to make it nice and slippery on top of it. That's right. And then we have what? All these explosives under the Gulf? Pretty interesting. And then on top of that, we have a pole shift going on. Better use your head, people. Henning's not shitting you. We're in a whole lot of trouble. I'm not going to give a timeline to when it's going to happen, but I'll guarantee one thing. It's going to happen. And that map that Henning showed you and the one that I showed you, which is both one and the same, just one in 3D, well, pretty damn accurate to what you're going to see. What can I say? I wanted to show you that Henning's correct. He's not lying to you. The one thing I agree with Henning on, all the way, is I hate liars. I hate people who lie and deceive other people. And Henning's not lying to you. I see it in the man from watching him. From watching him, I can tell. He may have messed up a few places, but who don't? We're all human beings. Every last one of us. He's doing his best to show you what he sees, and he's not lying. Anyhow, if you comments and opinions, next video, you have a good one.
Guy, Arkansas. Population around 500 very nervous people. Since mid-September, this part of Arkansas has experienced roughly 500 earthquakes. Sharon and Carrie Strickland were home when one struck.
There it is. You felt it. You felt it.
You got one.
That was it.
Last year at this time, there had been only 39 earthquakes in the entire state.
Slow days, we're having 1 to 2, maybe 3 or 4. Busier days, we can have up to 8 or 9.
My wife would like to buy earthquake insurance. I'm trying to talk her out of it.
Guy's mayor, Sam Hidgen, says the earthquakes don't really bother people much.
From about a 2.78 gauge to a 3 something, it'll rattle the windows. Check a few pictures on the wall. It doesn't last but 5, 6, 10 seconds.
But people do wonder what's causing them. Here's one theory. Guy sits atop what's called the Fayetteville Shale, a huge field of natural gas buried beneath layers of rock.
This is the Fayetteville Shale. As you can see, there's no gas that's going to come out of that, so you're going to have to hydraulically fracture rock to get gas out of it.
The process of fracturing rock is called, naturally enough, fracking. Wells are blasted deep into the earth with a high-pressure mixture of water and chemicals. When the drilling is done, the mixture, called fracking fluid, is disposed of by injecting it into so-called disposal wells, reaching well below the water table. Could that be what's causing the earthquakes?
So the question is this natural, i.e. NOLA, or is this being triggered, enhanced, or induced by the injection wells?
Arkansas oil and gas regulators aren't sure.
I think everyone recognizes that there is an increased number of seismic events occurring in and around this area. If you look at the maps, at least circumstantially, there appears to be evidence that they may be related to disposal operations. But we also know that this is an area that is historically active.
I hope it's not the gas industry, but you just don't know. We're anxious to find out.
The gas industry has been mostly silent about the earthquake outbreak. It'll get a chance to have its say at a regulatory meeting scheduled for January. Meanwhile, Guy's 500 residents have just about had their fill of little earthquakes.
Yeah, in the beginning it was fun, it was neat, it was a cool thing to experience, but now we're wanting it to go away, because kind of in the back of your mind you think, well, is there going to be a big one?
The U.S. Geological Survey says based on past experience with earthquake swarms, there's almost no reason to worry about the big one in central Arkansas in the near future. Sarah Hoy, CNN, Guy, Arkansas.